Let's kick things off with a question that gets thrown around a lot. What exactly are employee rights? I feel like most people hear that term and just think, I get paid, I have some holidays, I'm good. But there's a lot more to it, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. Beyond just pay and time off, employee rights are actually shaped by a whole web of laws and contracts. For example, the Employment Act 1955 lays the groundwork for basics like working hours and holiday entitlements. But then you also have rights to unionize, to a safe workplace, and even a legal minimum wage.
It's wild how many different laws play into this. Like, I didn't even realize the Employees Provident Fund Act and Social Security Act mean both employers and employees are jointly responsible for contributing to retirement and insurance funds.
Exactly. And if you add contracts on top, like agreements about salary, working hours, or unique benefits, it all gets even richer. That's why it's so important for employees to actually read their employment contracts, not just sign them and cross their fingers.
That makes me think, if employees have rights laid out so clearly, what about employers? Where's that balance?
So, employers definitely have their own set of rights. Some people call it management prerogative. This gives them the ability to restructure, introduce new tech, or even relocate staff if needed. But they're not just calling the shots unilaterally. They have real responsibilities too.
Like making sure the workplace is actually safe, right? I always thought that was just common sense, but it turns out it's actually a legal obligation.
That's true, and a big one. Employers also need to keep up a decent relationship with their people. And when it comes to things like layoffs or discipline, they can't just act on a whim. There are set procedures and standards they're supposed to follow.
That connects to something I've always wondered. How does the process work if someone's job is ending? Whether it's resignation, getting laid off, or retiring, what are the rules?
There's actually a spectrum of ways employment can end. If you're resigning, the Employment Act has pretty specific notice periods based on how long you've worked there, like 4, 6, or even 8 weeks if you've been around a while.
So if you just up and quit, you could be breaking the law or your contract?
Technically, yes. You're supposed to give notice. On the employer side, layoffs, usually called retrenchments, are only supposed to happen as a last resort. There are steps: consulting unions, informing staff, notifying the labor office, and even providing retrenchment benefits based on how long someone's worked.
That last part always seems complicated. How do they decide how much benefit someone gets if they're retrenched?
It's calculated by length of service. For instance, someone with less than 2 years gets 10 days' wages per year. More years mean more benefit, but not everyone's entitled only those under the Employment Act. A union agreement or a contract that mentions it.
And then there's retirement age too, right? I heard it's set at 60 now, but sometimes people can opt for an earlier exit.
Yeah. And sometimes jobs end for less voluntary reasons, like dismissal for misconduct. Misconduct isn't just big scandals. It ranges from being habitually late or using rude language to things like theft or being drunk at work.
That's such a wide range. So turning up late repeatedly is on the same list, just a different level compared to something like fighting or fraud.
Right. There's minor and major misconduct. Minor stuff might get you a warning, while major issues can fast-track to dismissal. But organizations are supposed to use a progressive discipline system, like warnings, suspensions, and only then, if things don't improve, dismissal.
I'm glad you brought up progressive discipline. I've heard stories where people feel blindsided by a sudden firing, with no warnings or clear reasons. How should it really work?
Ideally, discipline should be transparent and fair. Supervisors need to be trained, and everything should be documented, no hidden agendas or personal grudges. Plus, disciplinary action should address the behavior, not attack the person.
I love that emphasis. So, if someone's accused of serious misconduct, what's this domestic inquiry I keep hearing about? It sounds kind of mysterious.
It's basically an internal hearing. Before slapping down a major penalty like dismissal, the employer has to investigate, gather evidence, give the accused a chance to respond, and keep things impartial. Sometimes the employee gets suspended on half pay, just while things get sorted.
And there's a legal angle here too, right? No one can be a judge in their own case, and nobody should be condemned without a fair hearing.
Exactly. Those are the two big principles: impartiality and the right to be heard. It's meant to keep the process just for both sides. That way, discipline is less about punishment and more about fairness and learning, ideally helping the workplace become a better space for everyone.